I believe, have been on red side unless it's been first picked on blue side, which we have seen a couple of times. So it's one of those things to note when you've seen Cassidy was almost always a red side ban. And very interesting to see Copenhagen Wolves, they don't feel it's first pick worthy for their side.
Well, what's more interesting for me is that the Copenhagen Wolves have banned Aurelia. Maybe they didn't see Darien playing it yesterday because I'm not sure it was ban-worthy, I've got to be honest.
Maybe, I can't really argue with you, I'm afraid. So Gambit need to decide what is going to be more important. They had banned out Yasuo and Karma in the previous game. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that again. Instead, they're going to force Forgiven onto a different AD carry. Now, Genja played Caitlyn in the previous game. If he can get his hands on Caitlyn in this first rotation, and they've banned out Lucian, it means Forgiven needs to play something else. Whether it's going to be a Jinx, maybe an Ezreal, which is something he has pulled out. There are options. Hell, it's Copenhagen Wolves. They could first pick Caitlyn.
Well, Evelyn was taken away, so again, Amazing and Diamond not going to get to play that one. We'll see what Gambit choose to go with here. Remember, Lucian was pretty much locked in first for the Copenhagen Wolves in the last match, but there is a number of options available for them. It is going to be the Karma ban once again from Gambit like it was before. Ryze is open and he's insta-locked. Yeah,
there's also a Yasuo available for cowTard. cowTard doesn't always go with a full knock-up composition when he is looking for that particular champion, so keep it in mind, in the back of your mind, and I think Caitlyn needs to be a consideration. If you banned Lucian away, you want to deny Forgiven is next best, so Caitlyn Kha'Zix, Caitlyn Lee, something like that would be what I would do if I was in Gambit's shoes.
Well, there is the Caitlyn, there is the Kha'Zix. It seems to be what Gambit want to go for. We'll see if it works out. Remember, Xin Zhao is available. It's a champion Amazing could well play. That would play very well into the hands. He played it first game against Alliance yesterday.
Yeah, he did. Now, if you were unlimited, or you're on the side of the Copenhagen Wolves, I think an AD carry and maybe a support would not be a bad idea. They could go for the jungle, but there's nothing to contest on the side of the jungle. So if they decided to go for an AD carry and a support, it allows their jungle and mid lane to counterpick whatever else comes in. I don't know why, but I'm thinking maybe Jinx Leona. We could go Morgana. Morgana's still available if they wanted to. We'll have to see.
It's got to be Lucian, man. It's
banned out.
It's Forgiven. Oh, he was banned out.
Yes.
Well,
so can't be. Yeah,
you're right.
My gut is Jinx. Xin Zhao is the next jungler that we've been seeing that is sort of risen to prominence now in 4.5. The on-hit junglers, the move away from the Lee Sin and the Elise, which used to be sort of the absolute top tier. But, you know, Nyankos, he really showed that Elise still is a high priority pick if you can make it work, if you can gank early on.
Amazing considering Xin Zhao. See whether it gets locked on. Still lots of discussion, as you mentioned. Could be the support. Could go for that AD carry. Varus being considered here and has got locked in for Forgiven.
So I did not expect that coming. I think considering the CC you've got from Ryze and the CC you're going to be offering from Varus, that is good both engage and in disengage situations. If anybody is too close to you, you've got Xin Zhao that's going to be able to knock them away. So you've already got a lot of inbuilt synergy on the side of Copenhagen Wolves. On the same token, if Caitlyn manages to blow somebody up with Ace in the hole, get a lot of damage down, you do have the opportunity for resets on the side of Diamond as well. Keep in mind that Ziggs is still available, so you could go for that poke-heavy composition where you can run Varus and Ziggs. Also can do pretty well in a siege situation.
Alex considering a number of options right now. Don't forget, if he switches this in, it could be a Kha'Zix for him in that mid lane. He's been rotating through. Had Veigar highlighted on for a while. That would be a bit of a shocker coming out there. Thresh seems to be the one that Edward wants to go with. Pantheon has been locked in. So, let's see where this goes. Pantheon jungle, Kha'Zix mid.
I think it would be. And my reasoning is that Alex has not been particularly impressive yesterday and today. He hasn't really been in control of his lanes or his game. And I think if he wants to go to a comfort pick, he can play aggressively on Kha'Zix against the mage-type mid laners that cowTard may want to run. If cowTard wants to run another Kassadin, we could see a Kassadin-Kha'Zix matchup. It would be the first time in 4.5. But on the same token, Pantheon can also do well against mages in the mid lane. So he does have that option available to him. I just think we're more likely to see it in the hands of Diamond in the jungle.
Unlimited looking to rotate over to Morgana. Now Black Shield would be handy in this comp. Keep those death sentences, which really were the only thing starting fights off for Gambit in the previous matchup, but Lulu is going to get locked in for cowTard.
I already like what we're seeing from the Copenhagen Wolves roster. They've got a lot of CC, they've got peel, they've got abilities that can be used both aggressively and defensively. The one thing that Copenhagen Wolves need to be very, very careful of is giving up early advantages. Rise takes time to scale. Lulu takes time to scale. Until Lulu's got a lot of items built up, she's not a very big threat, and I've not been overly impressed by any of the Lulu's laning phases. Yes, they farm well, and they can offer a lot with their wild growth, but if Pantheon and Kha'Zix use their early level 6 advantages to pick up kills and rotate and roam around the map, that could be Gambit's way to never allow Copenhagen Wolves to hit that power plateau that the Wolves are looking for.
So, final choice. It's going to be for Darien, we believe, in that top lane. Oh, hello. We'll see.
Yeah, I have no idea how to interpret this.
Edward goes in with. We'll see whether he gets locked in first. This could, of course, be a Kha'Zix top lane. Could be a Pantheon top lane. Could be a Kha'Zix top lane is what I'm actually thinking. I'm trying to think which would work best against the Rise. So it is a Ziggs locked in mid lane.
So both of those champions, Pantheon and Kha'Zix, can actually do well in the early stages of the game. They both got some mobility, assuming they don't get too controlled by the Rune Prison. The problem that you're going to have is that at any point, once Darien falls behind, all of a sudden YoungBuck is going to be able to 1v1. I do think Gambit will be looking for a lane swap. I do think that the 1v1 matchup, you know, Rise does very well against so many melee champions. But if you combo the stun and the damage from Pantheon and Kha'Zix, you can pick up kills. So we'll see what Gambit decides to prioritize once they get in game. But another interesting, unique pick that we've seen from Gambit that we're not used to seeing.
So we'll see how this one works out. The changes have come in. It's a Pantheon top lane. That's locked in. Not quite sure what this is going to be like for Darien here.
Yeah,
he's going to be throwing the spears out, but he's going to get caught by the Q every time.
He is. And
overload in his face.
Mana restraints are going to make Darien's life quite difficult if he keeps using that spear shot. He's not. I don't think he's going to prioritize mana early on, unless he wants to go mana immune, which I'm not really expecting. But you know, he's built mana immune before, different champions. So if Darien does decide to go for that route, he's got some ranged abilities to deal with Rise. But overall, Rise is going to be able to outpoke and outtrade.
Well, it is Gambit that feel they needed to change things and change the style of play and even the meta of the game to try and take a victory here against the Copenhagen Wolves. Copenhagen Wolves going with tried and tested. And, well, it's worked for them so far. It may well work for them again. We know that Rise is going to be a late game powerhouse. Yeah. And that is where Copenhagen Wolves take the game every time. So the one thing is that, you know, Gambit do have tools around the map. They've got the Grand Skyfall from Pantheon, which is going to be very powerful. You've got the wave clear coming out of EpicSkillshot and Ziggs once again. So if Gambit are able to get some early kills, are able to get some early gold advantages onto their top or their mid laner, you know, I can actually see this working. I can see this comp working in their favor. We'll need to see how it plays out, because these first 10 minutes of game and these first few ganks from the respective junglers are going to be so crucial. Lots of biscuits being picked up by the Copenhagen Wolves as well. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2. Can the Copenhagen Wolves take it to Gambit? Can they knock them down to their first ever promotion series? They've never been in this situation before. The Copenhagen Wolves, so level 1, are going in deep on this one, and Gambit, they have not seen them.
So there is a ward in the inventory of Unlimited. There are Gambit pings on the tri-bush. There's not been any blue pings from Copenhagen Wolves. So Unlimited has dropped the ward near the red buff. Neither team has seen one another yet. And this is so scary. If somebody misplays, we did see it in Rockout versus SK in the 3rd game of their series. 2 kills were secured early. It is not the end of the world. Gold is significantly less for a kill before 2 minutes. It's 60% of the standard value. So it's not game-changing, but it does help.
Copenhagen Wolves have just pinged the bush that Gambit are in. And I'm not going to say any more because I see a headset off and the game has just paused.
I believe they're asking the ref for some s'mores. Is everyone sitting?
They want to sit a camp. I also want to give a credit right now because the crowd that's in here, they're 7 hours in. So they are the hardcore remain right now because...
Yeah, that is awesome. You guys rock. And for everybody watching at home as well, thanks for... It's been a long day. It has been a very long day. With the exception of Gambit versus Rocket yesterday, every single series has gone to 3 games.
Yeah, we're approaching 1 AM. We've got a potential 2 more games to go. We could be here till 3 AM. I know everybody is excited for that.
We could be here to 4. It is a Copenhagen Wolves game. there are potentially 2 of them, so you never know.
Don't get me excited right now because I just can't contain myself. I am excited to see how this game's going to go because we have a couple of unusual picks coming in there. It's something we've seen from Copenhagen Wolves before. They pulled out the Heimerdinger. Of course, we were wondering which way YoungBuck would go when they played against Alliance. He was fairly heavily banned out, but he's got back onto that rise. It's been a champion he's been allowed through, but Darien pulling out Pantheon in the top lane. It's something we've not seen in either North America or EU, as far as I'm aware, in the top lane.
No, it is the first time we've seen it in the top lane. I think for Amazing, we need to keep an eye on his aggressive moves. When they won against Alliance, he was playing Genja, and even in that series, I felt like he was a bit over-aggressive. Oh, I think they're going to see each other. Copenhagen Wolves are going to be completely aware, but they eat a bomb. Piercing arrow goes out, that doesn't catch anybody, and nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Well, they caught a bomb and they caught a piercing arrow, but everybody else will step away and take it easy on the Rift. So, Gambit are stood on top of a ward, and the Copenhagen Wolves, they may re-engage here. Alex is just going to see them, though.
Yeah, so if Copenhagen Wolves engage, they're looking for a Dark Binding to land. That crowd control, maybe with the knockup from 3 Talent Strike, could be enough time, but I think Gambit, they've backed away. Double ward, so 2 trinkets going down. Not the end of the world, but Copenhagen Wolves with a very adamant play to steal his red buff.
Well, while this is all happening, the red buff gets hooked in. Darien is actually off on his own down the moment. Diamond gets caught out by the Dark Binding. He has to back away. Red buff stolen away by Amazing. We'll see how that works out. Genja taking damage as well. Forgiven lands the piercing arrow and puts some damage on towards him. Everybody returning to lane, and you can see it on your screens. It's a 2v2 in the top lane. Yeah,
but very importantly, Genja has not backed. So he's lost a third of his hit points. He's sitting at about 400 HP now. He's going to be relying on the regen from that Relic Shield start of Edward. And I think we need to see how this very long range of Forgiven and Unlimited works out. Every time Genja gets caught, you have to feel that piercing arrow will follow up, and that's going to begin hurting more and more.
That is a scary combo. And remember, with a Xin Zhao in the team, if that Dark Binding goes down there, we could see Amazing pouncing onto the target. They have some pretty damn good crowd control, the Copenhagen Wolves there. And this could well be problematic for Gambit in the mid lane. Well, it's a Lulu Ziggs. It's a lane matchup we've seen a hell of a lot of throughout the spring split. Of course, both the champions received some slight changes in the 4.5 patch.
Yeah, they did. It's going to be a farm fest. I'm more interested in the bottom top lane. Rise versus Pantheon. We've already seen YoungBuck. He's used his teleport. So in lane, going to be CSing. He's 16 CS down. He actually got to lane after Darien. So that gave Darien an early level, and I'm going to think that he's gone aggressive. If you look at Darien's mana pool, he's been jumping in YoungBuck's face fairly often. So we'll see if he can maintain this level of CS. A stun, plus some damage from Diamond, maybe first blood, but look at that. Darien is he's out of mana.
He may actually fancy this one. Darien is baiting him low, but Diamond's like, no, gonna back away from this one. Doesn't really fancy sticking around, hoping that YoungBuck may well try and go for a face check here. I don't think he's going to be baited in towards it. He's just going to back off, get himself a full tank of mana. What's he going to buy when he goes back? It's a second Doran's Blade. Ballsy.
Yeah, very aggressive. Darien needs to... He needs to get a lead in this lane. He needs to get an advantage. I'm much more impressed at the fact that Darien picked himself up a green ward. And the reason why, during the course of the spring split here in Europe, Darien only bought 11 green wards.
That's out of 28 matches.
That is correct. Out of 28 games, Darien only purchased 11 green wards. And you think to yourself, wow, Darien dies a lot in lane. I wonder why. Here's the theory. Nevertheless, ward has been placed, thrown it down at the Dragon Pit. That's going to give him some information as to when Amazing's going to come in. And because Amazing's got no tools to get past those wards, it's going to give him plenty of time to escape, get out of range of that Rune Prison, and get out alive well.
Darien with the return, full mana bar, see if he can put the pressure on YoungBuck. YoungBuck is going to be backing away at some time soon, but he has to get that Tear of the Goddess stacked in as early as possible. But now we see Amazing making an approach in towards his bottom wave. We'll see if he can pounce on towards Darien.
And he's come directly through, well, that was so much for my point. He came through the lane where there was no wards. So I thought he was going to play sneaky. The wave was pushing too aggressively. What we need to keep our eyes on is Darien's mana pool. The moment Darien starts running out of mana from all of those spear shots, that is when YoungBuck is going to be able to take advantage and gain complete control. As long as Darien has mana to spam his Q on an equal level with YoungBuck, they should be able to trade quite evenly. So, like we said, mana pool is going to determine that lane more so than the range versus melee at this level.
Well, speaking of even, that mid lane is very much even between cowTard and Alex Hitch. We did see cowTard just sent packing, so he's gone back for his first purchase. It is the Chalice of Harmony and a pink ward picked up as well. Alex Hitch yet to go back. We'll see whether he goes with the exact same build. I expect he will do. Genja has fallen behind a little bit on CS against Forgiven in this top lane. We saw Genja with the advantage in the previous matchup, but this time around Forgiven on a champion that Genja's going to be all too familiar with because he's played Varus a number of times himself. It's a champion he favors due to the caster style, but Copenhagen Wolves have putting good pressure down there. Black Shield being used a little bit early from Unlimited there. There's the Dark Binding, Piercing Arrow and Hail of Arrows landing on Genja this time.
And that's the difference. When you land your skill shot, you get all of that damage down. Now we do see the Copenhagen Wolves are pulling in the support of Amazing, and in the bottom lane, Darien managing his mana pool very well. He's got a small CS advantage. It should be evened out once this very large minion wave gets in range of YoungBuck. But both Amazing and Diamond have not chosen their gank timing particularly well. Every time they've come into lane, the lane has been very pushed. And they basically need a tower dive if they want to start something off. Ooh. Genja is a lot lower though, so if they tower dove in the top lane, it could work out. They've got to get through an exhaust and a heal though.
We'll see whether Amazing can be a man and pile on towards him. Genja is very low on their hit points right now. Amazing is looking at going towards this one. Of course, Edward, he's got the Flay available. Could not use the ultimate, remember, he's still only level 5. Here they go, Unlimited coming in. Amazing's going to be stronger than the Coursing River as he dives on towards Genja. Tries to catch on towards him. It's a good exhaust, but Edward's taken low. Genja's taken low. First blood for Amazing. Second one comes in. It's Forgiven that takes it. Easy, easy setup for the Copenhagen Wolves.
Very well coordinated. They dodged and juked that tower aggro very effectively, grabbing a kill for Xin Zhao and a kill for Varus. So that's going to allow them to maybe get this tower down. Here comes a Grand Skyfall. Forgiven's low. Can Darien get him?
What on earth are you doing, Darien? He pounces in 3v1, and that is going to signal a lane swap, or will it? I think he just fancied it and almost got Forgiven down.
So two things. He got the flash out of Forgiven, the exhaust out of Unlimited, and he held onto the tower. I definitely think that was a good play. A little bit aggressive, a little bit risky. You know, had the Dark Binding landed and Forgiven sat a little further back, maybe there would have been enough damage to drop him, but that is a triple Doran's Blade Darien. He is invested in getting an early game advantage and an early game lead. His first ultimate has not given it to him. We'll see how the lane resets because YoungBuck teleported top, and it looks like Darien is, well, he'll probably go top as well because you can see that Genja's in the bottom lane.
Yeah, actually went to building towards the Mercurial. Mercury treads is the word I'm after, and going to try and make sure he's not rooted down for a long period of time. Up against YoungBuck, of course. Edward and Genja have rotated first. They will get the chunk of wave that was pushed in by YoungBuck, and we'll see how that works out. As of yet, we're still waiting Diamond to make a play. He's tried in the bottom lane, tried to get Darien started, tried to get some pressure onto YoungBuck, but again, the Copenhagen Wolves ward placement and safety have been paramount.
This is such a difficult position for Genja to be in now. Because of the BF sword that Forgiven has picked up, he's going to out DPS Genja significantly. And when you add into it the long-range poke of that piercing arrow, which is a greater range than the Pult of a Peacemaker at full charge, it's going to be a difficult lane. You touched on the fact that Diamond hasn't had a positive impact. A tower dive from Amazing has netted him 2 kills. Diamond's lanes haven't exactly helped him out in terms of setting that up. He hasn't picked the right time to go in. That's what I think I'm going to say. And I would like to see him comboing with Darien. If they tower dive with Darien on Pantheon, he can block turret shots. He can use that Aegis of Zonya. If YoungBuck goes low enough, they can go in. So we'll see if they perform it well this time.
Darien taking some burst again from YoungBuck there. Rune Prison Overload just discharging on him. Diamond has snuck himself into that top lane, but look at that. Amazing. Ready and waiting to go. And maybe the fact that Darien is low on hit points is going to be enough to try and draw him in. Grand Skyfall is available in just a second, so maybe looking to try and man drop back into the action.
It didn't work last time, and the option is available for them. If you look at the lanes, nobody from Wolves is presenting themselves as a target. So for Gambit, more vision is going to be key. I think they need to grab themselves more wards, and they need to make themselves more apparent in the jungles, which is going to open up invades for Diamond and open up those Grand Skyfalls for Darien. Also, if you add that together, Diamond and Darien picking a gank, and you throw down the Mega Inferno Bomb, that is a very powerful combo onto champions that don't have a lot of resistances right now. So let's see if Gambit can find an opportunity to make it work.
Well, they are going to return to that top lane. They want to make this play this time around. Darien waiting off the side. Diamond ready to pounce. Here comes the Grand Skyfall coming in towards it. YoungBuck caught out of position. Has to pounce away. He's going to get locked down. There's a lot of damage coming down towards him. YoungBuck will go down. And it's Diamond that gets the kill for Gambit.
That was exactly the combination that we were talking about. Because there are two members in the top lane now for Gambit, it has opened up the Dragon to the Copenhagen Wolves. Alex does have the Mega Inferno Bomb available. I don't think he's got any real vision in that pit, so he's not going to be able to go for a steal. Wolves grab that one uncontested. Still net game Wolves.
Well, you say net game Wolves, but that's a tower going down.
I retract the statement.
Top lane. And that means it's net game Gambit because they got a kill and a tower.
So, with that tower being down, I would still like to see more wards.
Ooh,
I'd like to go. Oh, they've caught Amazing.
Amazing. Out of position here. Eddie comes around, but he's going to try and go in towards it. He's got the force of a great Typhoon. Jumps on towards Edward, but he's not a man. He's not as strong as the moon. And that is going to be the kill for the Copenhagen Wolves.
Genja managing to save Edward there, using Summoner Heal, keeps him alive from those last bits of damage and not running the risk. And grab them. That means Gambit grab themselves a second kill in this game, evening out the gold a little bit more. Still 1,000 separates them, and a little bit of an aggressive play from Amazing. He didn't really need to be invading, especially when you could theorize that a lot of members of Gambit were backing away.
Well, some would say you get lucky, some say you make your own luck. At the moment, Gambit are trying to make their own luck, and they have started to get themselves in this game, started to wake up in the lane phase. They're still 1,000 gold behind, though. The Copenhagen Wolves are doing a very good at keeping that farm advantage.
The one thing that I do like about Gambit's comp, even though it is 1,000 gold behind, they've got the first tower, and they have the ability to pull the trigger. If anybody from Copenhagen Wolves is solo pushing a lane, like YoungBuck now, the opportunity is there to have Diamond come from the side, to have those abilities stacking. I don't think they're going to jump on cowTard yet, but because Gambit have got that tool available to them, as long as they don't fall further behind, they always have an ability to jump in. They always have an ability to gain that gold lead back.
Amazing shows himself. He passes by that ward that was over back at the blue buff, so they know that he's coming in towards their strike. Darien's gone very passive. Alex Itch staying fairly close. Did just take down the Wraiths. Mega Inferno Bomb is off cooldown in a moment if it's required, but it seems it's not. Meanwhile, down that bottom lane, they're going to tower dive on towards him. Darien, though, on that tower, should try and lock him up, but Amazing comes in once again. 3 talent strike, bounces him up, but the counter kill is there for Darien. And, well, YoungBuck went a little too early and took that tower damage.
Yes, he did. The Hex Drinker as well from Darien, doing so much work at keeping him alive. So it's 1 for 1 as far as the trade is concerned. The kill lands in Amazing's hands, not on YoungBuck's, which is also a victory, a small win, rather, for Gambit, slowing down the pace at which YoungBuck's going to get those core items. And a very good Mega Inferno Bomb from Alex also defends the top lane tower. So Copenhagen Wolves still 0 towers secured, but they are holding on to that gold lead thanks to some superior farming across both their top and AD carry positions.
Edward sweeping out that ward, and look at this. Diamond ready and waiting to move in there. The ward's cleared out. They have no vision now of Diamond in here, but they're going to be very cautious of it. They're going to jump on Unlimited. He's going to be the man. They pile in towards. The damage comes down, but the Chain of Corruption so quickly coming out there, and well forgiven with the piercing arrow. Oh, not quite landing on Eddie.
So when Unlimited gets out, just burning his flash, manages to stay alive. Got my names mixed up. It was Unlimited that was jumped on. Not enough damage from the members of Gambit, but a decent attempt. We'll see if it allows them to get the tower down. Unlimited still sticking around, playing patiently, and cowTard has found Alex.
He's going to get a chance towards him, but he will step away from it. Darien once again, though. Darien and YoungBuck going at it. And once again, Amazing is coming in towards that top lane, but he's not going to get close enough. Red buff steal by Diamond this time. Will he go looking towards the mid lane? No, he's going to back off.
So in terms of that top lane, we're actually seeing the 1v1 going fairly even in terms of actual trades. Damage and HP is being traded back and forth. But very importantly, Darien is falling much further behind on CS. It's 30 creeps right now. We also see Amazing going to the top tower. I'm expecting him to tower dive. He's done it twice already. He's done it again.
He's going to go straight in towards it. He's got the strength of the Raging Fire as he dumps on towards him. But no, he doesn't get the kill. Darien survived.
Wow.
He's going aggressive. He jumps in. He spears Amazing down. Darien goes man mode and just faces on towards him, flashes in there. Now cowTard caught out. He gets stunned up. He gets locked up. Alex just doesn't throw the mines out. We get caught out by the Glitter Lance. And wow, Copenhagen Wolves, they're starting to falter.
So after a flawlessly executed tower dive to secure the first kills of the game, Copenhagen Wolves try it 2 more times. YoungBuck goes too early. He gives up a kill. Then YoungBuck, who was tanking the turret up, he didn't go in range. Oh, YoungBuck scored Genja.
And YoungBuck is going to try and catch on towards Edward. Look at the burst damage. The Dark Binding does not land. Eddie's going to try and get away from this one. Has got flesh available. No, not going to get away. I thought he was going to try and get across in towards the Dragon Pit there, but instead he got picks down.
Yeah, I think it was a smart call not to waste the Summoner spell. He was going to go down at some point. Maybe he could have taken some flashes from his opponents. But YoungBuck, a good teleport to grab themselves a kill. This is going to open up this bottom turret now for the Copenhagen Wolves to reply. They lost their turret a moment or 2 ago. And it is getting late in the day. It has been a long day for both of these teams. If the Copenhagen Wolves make those misplays and keep giving up kills on failed tower dives, that's going to be the gold that allows Gambit to get back in this game. They're only 400 gold down. They've got 2 turrets secured. So as far as map presence is concerned, having Ziggs, having Pantheon, you have to feel they are more in control of the map than Copenhagen Wolves at this point.
I would agree with you, but then I would also counter that argument with it's Darien on Pantheon. He could man drop, Grand Skyfall, whatever you'd like to refer to it, in the wrong position at the wrong time. It's a possibility. I mean, it's a thing that every single Pantheon player in the world has ever played that champion has done. Hit that Grand Skyfall and gone, whoop. Oh, that's a little too deep, and that may be too deep for cowTard. He flashes away. Genja actually coming in towards him. The whole of Gambit rotating in towards his mid lane right now.
Now we'll see if they can get the towers. This is something they didn't do previously. Maybe setting their sights on the Dragon instead. That looks like a Gambit-themed objective. They really do put a lot of emphasis on this Dragon control. No teleport from YoungBuck. So, Dragon should go down for Gambit. It doesn't look like anyone's going to attempt to steal. YoungBuck is pushing that top wave tower. I can't remember how much HP it had, but I think he should be able to get that down as well.
Tries to get it with the Dark Binding a little too early. Top lane turret, though, that's going to go down. YoungBuck is on that one, so they will get themselves an objective back. It's the first turret of the game for Copenhagen Wolves.
So that's going to open up the top half of the map. So both top towers are now down. Copenhagen Wolves playing very aggressive in this side of the jungle. Amazing is looking for things to steal, looking for objectives to take. Red buff wasn't available to him. He grabs the double golems. I like the amount of vision that Copenhagen Wolves have on the map. If you look across from the bottom half to the top, there's a lot of blue wards sprinkled everywhere. And very importantly for Wolves, they have deep vision. They've got that ring so they can see where multiple members of Gambit are, especially when they're going for their own buffs. So we'll see how they make use of that information.
It's a Tiamat build for Darien, so he's going full aggression. Hex Drinker as well, of course. That was up against the lane matchup, and it really will help him as the team fights develop. So, bottom lane, that's the focus target for cowTard right now, but Genja is there in defense. He should be able to keep this wave at bay, and honestly, neither team really have done heavy presence on the tower push, and we're into the 20-minute mark right now. Finally, Copenhagen Wolves looking to try and make a play here. Blue Wolf, that's going to go across to Alex Hitch. Eventually, Diamond making sure he didn't steal that one away, and they may try and get cowTard here.
So in both of the games that we've seen, neither team has put a very large emphasis on the towers. They're a lot more concerned about dragons and a lot more concerned about their opponent's champions in terms of just finding kills.
Someone should tell them that you got to take towers down to win the game.
Maybe they didn't get the memo. It's a patch 1.0 thing. It's a while ago.
Yeah.
It needs a refresher. I do also think that Forgiven is doing much better this game than in the previous game. You see Grand Scuffle? They want cowTard.
cowTard going straight face first into this one. Flash was already used, and that's going to be Darien pouncing on towards him. Wild Growth's going to do naught, and Diamond jumps on, gets the kill.
That was just really well played. Well positioned is a better way to phrase that one. cowTard walked straight into them.
He walked past, what, 1-2 wards. They knew exactly where he's going. Now Unlimited going to get caught out. Ace in a hole comes through and towards him. Diamond does get some shots on towards him. They're pushing on towards this middle turret. Eddie, oh, that was a little bit of mispositional play there. Forced a flash out of him when really it was unnecessary. He could have gone back around towards the Wraiths.
Decent wave clear from Copenhagen Wolves is slowing down the tower being secured. And we do see the Mega Inferno Bomb is still available for Alex. YoungBuck's coming in from the side. He wants to try and flank, but he's going to walk across a ward. So Gambit are well aware of this, and they have backed away safely. So the tower lives to fight another day.
That would have been a madness play from YoungBuck, and I think he realized it, so he didn't go into wards there. But Gambit, they still have that 2-to-1 tower advantage, but the goal is still very, very close. They need to start trying to push for objectives. Darien, though, not a bad job so far on Pantheon. I'm not going to lie, he's actually doing all right. And more importantly, he's doing better than he normally does in the top lane, which is a problem for Copenhagen Wolves.
Yes, it is. And I wouldn't call Pantheon a counter to Rise. I mean, he's still 40 CS down. That's the equivalent of 2 kills. But he's definitely done very well in the matchup. Every time we've looked at the lane up until this point, they've been trading fairly evenly. And with jungler intervention, they've been able to pick up kills. The one thing that I feel Darien does offer, he doesn't. He's got the additional exhaust on the side of Gambit, so they have 2 exhausts to play with. And because the ground Skyfall is somewhat like your teleport, he can deal with Rise whenever Rise teleports. You've got that map presence and map control available to you. The real question is, do Gambit have the experience to make use of it? They're not a team that has traditionally gone for that split push, teleport, Grand Skyfall style of map play. So we need to see how they do in these next 10 to 15 minutes, because if they don't make use of that ability, then I don't know. I think Copenhagen Wolves may outscale them.
And I'm actually quite impressed. Darien is not shoving the wave down. He's only held it to midway and backed off again. He hasn't shoved it right down on towards the Copenhagen Wolves. He holds it there and then backs away. Now he's going to go back down towards that bottom wave, has to deal with YoungBuck himself, who has completed that Rod of Ages, had the tier a long time ago, now going in towards the Frozen Heart as well, with that Glacial Shroud being picked up. So, Darien does not hold the turret quite long enough, and that will be the second turret of the game for the Copenhagen Wolves, as Diamond, he makes a move down towards the bottom. He's going to get spotted now by the ward though, so no play being made. cowTard is off on his own, trying to keep that farm going, but Alexic is starting to tear away from him. Yeah,
so now Gambit are the ones with the superior vision. They've got deeper wards. You'll see multiple red wards in and around the red buff side of Copenhagen Wolves jungle. That is, in my theory, because in a minute's time, Dragon's up. Now, cowTard are amazing. If they dive Genja, he's probably going to die, and I think he will.
He's in trouble. 90 caliber net and flash used. He's trying to get away from this one and has escaped there without the help of Edward. Eddie was just off the side. Ace in the hole being used on towards cowTard. Does put enough down, but he quickly shields that off. And they are safe once again.
Good reactions from Genja. With the flash and the 90 caliber net, it got him out of range of that knockup from Amazing. Even with the Glitter on slow, it wasn't enough to lock him down. So, very snappy fingers. Allows him to get out away. Amazing's flash was burned for that setup. And Gambit are still staying somewhat grouped towards Dragon. But when Genja and Edward fall down towards this bottom half of the map, I think we can expect him to try and make another play for that Dragon. It's been the one objective Gambit have rotated and really looked to play aggressive around.
Yeah, Diamond was showing himself on top of a ward there, and Copenhagen Wolves reacted strongly, moving 4 members down the river. YoungBuck is also making his way up the river. And as you mentioned, this Dragon up in just 5 seconds' time is going to be the focus for both of these teams.
And because Gambit got better positioning right now, when they started off, Copenhagen Wolves have to engage. They're going to try a flank maneuver. YoungBuck is on the bottom half of the map with Forgiven. There's 3 more members of Copenhagen Wolves. They've jumped in!
They've jumped straight down towards YoungBuck. Chain of Corruption comes out, and the Gambit are into all sorts of trouble here. Darien taken low, Diamond taken low. Amazing pouncing on towards them. Eddie putting the box down, trying to stop them out there. Alexic from range, throwing the bouncing bombs down, but the Copenhagen Wolves have bullied Gambit away from this Dragon. They can't contest it.
Nobody died and nobody was stacked up quickly enough. That was a 3v3 and a 2v2, but the Wolves pulled the trigger quickly. Alex still wants to contest.
That was a very good minds coming out, but Alexic is low on mana, and now they're going to pounce in towards it. Eddie's going to take the brunt. Wild Growth being used by Amazing. 3 talent strike, bouncing Alexic up into the air. Tries to jump away with the satchel charge, but he's got no mana left. He gets pincered out. cowTard comes in. It's another kill for for Amazing.
After the rest of Gambit peeled away, there was very little reason for them to stick around. The Dark Binding is a very powerful tool, and the moment it landed, the rest of Copenhagen Wolves just jumped onto Gambit. They grabbed themselves 2 kills after screen drag. Now they've caught Genja.
Genja getting caught out. Pierce and Arrow is available, but instead he's going to turn the ace and the whole back onto Forgiven. Diamond jumping in there, but Unlimited popping the ultimate. He steps away. Whew, this game is on a knife edge right now, but it's Copenhagen Wolves in the lead.
Both teams sticking around a tiny bit longer than maybe they needed to. Gambit re-engaging after they'd actually lost that fight. What I liked about the Copenhagen Wolves in the Dragon Pit was the fact that they didn't hesitate. They had that flanking maneuver with Forgiven and YoungBuck, and they just went straight in on Gambit. Put a lot of damage down early. That's a teleport from YoungBuck, and it was in full vision. I guess he wants the tower. There's no one else to back him up, though.
Eddie threw the death sentence about 5 seconds too early there as well. Completely missed timing, that one. So, pressure very much on Gambit right now. They're not going to feel that they are 4,000 gold behind. It won't feel that way in the game, I don't think. They're 2-2 in turrets, 6-5 in kills. They probably feel they're fairly even right now. And if you look at the items, you wouldn't be able to tell too much difference.
But if you look at the CS, there are quite significant changes. Darien's lead deficit has extended to 60. There's a 60 CF deficit between Forgiven and Genja. And I like the fact that Forgiven has gone for what was coined the Legolas build. Bloodthirster into Last Whisper. It just makes his piercing arrows hit so much harder. And once Copenhagen Wolves begin wave clearing as well as theoretically sieging, that's going to give them a very strong position. There is a good poke from Copenhagen Wolves with both Varus, Morgana, and the Lulu. But of course, the great wave clear from Alex should delay any of those situations.
The big problem I feel for Gambit right now is the fact that they have this Kazakh center, they have the Pantheon, they want to try and get a pick, they want to try and assassinate someone, pick them off. But the Copenhagen Wolves don't play that way. They always play incredibly safe. You just saw it down the bottom there, YoungBuck. The wave was there was a giant stack of minions, but he actually stepped away because it's like, I've got no vision of this area. I know there's someone probably in the proximity, so I'm just going to step away, let a couple of CS go, see what happens, and then go back in and clear that wave.
I concur. And it's the reason the Copenhagen Wolves games take so much longer than any other team.
And that's why we love them.
I think yesterday's average game time was 44 minutes. If memory serves correctly, the previous game went to around 50. We're already at 30 minutes, and only 2 towers have fallen. In a state of the game where the meta is to fast push towers early and rotate, 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 neither of these teams are trying to do that. They're quite content to continue farming. Under most circumstances, I would say, okay, if you've got even compositions, but I think in straight-up team fights, Ryze and Zhao and Lulu are going to be able to overpower Pantheon, Kha'Zix, and Ziggs. On the assumption that there's, full HP bars and a straight-up fight, I think Copenhagen Wolves' team will win. If there is time to poke people down with Ziggs and Caitlyn, maybe Gambit can win it, but, we'll just have to see how it plays out because we still have a lot of game ahead of us.
No Amazing's in the top lane. They pinged on towards it. I'm unsure of Gambit's game plan right now. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do.
Were you sure of the game plan last game?
No, definitely not. But Darien backed off. There was a wave of around about 12 minions that he just backed away from, including the siege minion, which would give him, what, 40, 50 gold at this stage. And he backed off, bought the Ravenous Hydra, and then just ran back into the lane. Well, yes, he didn't push it down into YoungBuck, but YoungBuck's just come along, took it out there. He lost all the CS for no particular reason. Didn't do anything about it. We just saw Diamond go into the top lane. He said, yeah, Amazing's up here. Everybody go back to mid and sit around.
So look at the vision that Copenhagen Wolves have done. We've had this ping-pong of vision, right? Every time Gambit have got superior vision, it's been a dragon's about to respawn, so I'm expecting him to place some more wards now. And every time we've had vision from Copenhagen Wolves, they've tried to dive. It failed twice, which I think is why Copenhagen Wolves put a back pedal and a brake onto that style of action. In a similar vein, we've only seen 2 of those Grand Skyfalls really working out. There was a great gank in the top lane on YoungBuck. There was a good river jump onto cowTard. But we haven't seen anything else from Gambit. They are playing as safe as the Copenhagen Wolves. I do think, as you said, there is that pick potential in teamfights. So if Gambit start a teamfight and surprise the Copenhagen Wolves, they've got so much damage to work with. So I'm not quite sure why they're playing it so safe. They just, once again, want to get into this late game.
Well, Gambit are keeping the Copenhagen Wolves at bay from their towers right now, but as the game progresses, they continue to pull the gold in their favor. They're now 4,000 gold in the lead. They're getting control, putting the wards down. Like you mentioned, they've got great vision around both the Dragon area and the Baron area, and the enemy jungle is still peppered by wards. Gambit, really with 30 seconds left before this Dragon spawner, not even really close to getting vision on it.
This is the first time you feel Gambit are maybe not interested in going for the Dragon. You've just seen Darien peel away from that top lane. He can jump in. There's so much damage in Diamond. Darien could jump in with the Grand Skyfall if they're clumped up in the pit, but with Diamond going so low, I think they have to concede it. I can't see Gambit going for a 5v4. The last time they tried, it was a somewhat 5v5, but Copenhagen Wolves they didn't hesitate. They picked a good fight. So we'll see how quickly Diamond can make his way back to the lane. If Copenhagen Wolves go Dragon, Gambit go Tower.
Try and go Tower, but Copenhagen Wolves are already gone Dragon, and they're keeping the Tower away as well. They have got 2 members on there. You can see Unlimited coming around. Dark Binding is available. Amazing's trying to tank it out there. He's all on his own. He's going to pounce on towards it. He's actually caught out of position on his own right now. Wild Growth comes in. Alex Hitch is the focus target. Pierce now comes through. Alex Hitch goes down. YoungBuck manages to pick up the kill there. Amazing's been taken down as well. YoungBuck's going to get taken very low. Gambit focus on towards him, but the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves collapse around them. The chain of corruption comes through, but look at the damage. Alex Hitch is trying to capture, Diamond's trying to capture towards them. Genja putting the damage down, untouched at the back. Genja was just left alone and pounded away on the rest of the Wolves.
3 for 2 in terms of kills, and that was very good timing from Diamond. Copenhagen Wolves did not get the Dragon down quickly enough, and because Amazing took so much damage from trying to solo that Dragon or trying to take Dragon with YoungBuck, he was at half HP when the fight started. By time Diamond arrived, the fight was already basically over. Genja had very good positioning, landed a lot of damage down throughout the fight, and was never really a threat of going down, but neither was forgiven. You do have to point that out. So superior positioning and decision-making from Gambit allows him to grab the Dragon, allows him to grab some kills and this mid-turret. So it's going to pull that gold closer. And overall, a pretty good play. You know, they held out long enough. Diamond took all of that poke, managed to go back, heal, run back to Dragon, and still come out ahead in the fight.
And the back and forth action continues. That's Gambit winning 2 fights at the Dragon. Wolves have won themselves 1 as well. The gold keeps swinging back and forth. The barometer is off the charts right now, and the Gambit, well, they are fighting to keep themselves in the LCS right now. They're fighting for their lives. We hit the 32-minute mark. Baron, of course, is an objective possibility for either of these teams if they were to win a heavy team fight. But I feel at the moment, it would have to be a big win.
There is so much damage on both sides. We could see another situation that we've seen from the previous game where one team will try to bait their opponents into the pit. Because they've built, like everybody's built damage right now. That Baron will not last a particularly long time. We haven't seen that Grand Skyfall being a map presence ability. There's been used a couple of ganks, so I would still like to see Darien maybe split pushing a little more. Leading up to the Dragon, I think Darien had a very smart idea. Pushed that top wave out, was trying to get closer to the inner turret, and then when he realized the fight was going to happen, he needed to move down quickly.
I want to talk about Genja. No pussyfooting around this time. Straight gone for a proper AD carry build. Well, I mean it proper. It's a standard
build. A
Bloodthirster, a Phantom Dancer, and the Last Whisper. Not waiting around and going for any old weird strange item. Serious play has to come out from these players, and Genja is actually performing. And the reason we talked about this, and you know, you may have heard Deficio harping on about the craziness that's coming out there, and a lot of pro players also saying this is just unbelievable. The difference is, at this level of play, at this level of game, in the LCS, all of these players are essentially at the same level. There's no one really that are miles above anyone else. We haven't got essentially a faker, or even if you could argue the faker's been taken out of it because they lost today. We haven't got anyone in that position, so the tiniest of percentages, the tiniest of differences in item builds is really what can separate a team. And if you were to just not go for the right build, just go buy the wrong item at the right time, and that's why when we spot some crazy item builds coming out, we have to focus on it so heavily, and that's why we've been harping on about Genja's builds.
And even more so, the position that you're in as an AD carry, when you don't build armor penetration, the effective HP, which means the number of auto attacks you need to land on your opponents, gets multiplied by, 3, 4, 5 times if you can't shred through their armor. On a champion like YoungBuck, who's got himself up a chain vest, got that Glacial Shroud already secured, he's got a lot of armor you need to burn through. There's the makings of a Randian's Omen and a Sunfire Cape with Amazing. You need to burn through that. So we'll see if Genja can make it work. The previous fight, he had very good positioning. I can't recall if he had the Last Whisper at the Dragon fight or not, but he now has the damage to burn through. What I like as well, the assassination power that it will give you when you throw out your ace in the hole and your piltovers is also going to go up significantly. YoungBuck actually completed a Frozen Heart as his first item, and when you've got 3 physical damage threats, I actually think that's a smart call. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Randuin's at some point, but maybe a Void Staff is his next.
Well, we were calling out the advantages, of course, that YoungBuck and Forgiven were having in terms of farm. We can't discount the farm that Alex has got. It is gigantic, miles ahead of cowTard, and that's actually put him in a pretty big item ahead. You can see it's what, nearly 2,000 gold ahead in terms of, I think 1,500 gold actually to do the actual math as they go, and it's given that full needlessly large rod advantage.
It has, but have you seen it? That's the question. It hasn't equated to anything else. The Mega Inferno Bomb's not game-changing. They jump on YoungBuck.
YoungBuck's going to get jumped on, but he's walking away from this one, but I don't think he's going to be able to walk away without a lump at the moment. He's going to try and teleport away. Have they got enough to interrupt it? Have they got enough to take him down?
He got out!
No! He got out of there! Would you believe? YoungBuck escapes with, what, 70 hit points?
I am speechless because he started that teleport so late. Manages to get out, got away from all of the CC, the stun that Pantheon was putting down, and, well, YoungBuck prevents giving up a kill, prevents that map presence. We were talking about Alex, his item is CS lead. Gambit still haven't sieged. Gambit still haven't put themselves at the toes of a turret to try and take it down, made use of the long range that the champions have. You could argue that it is because there is a lot of wave clear from Copenhagen Wolves with that Lulu and the Varus, for example. But nevertheless, when we see those bouncing bombs, when we see that Mega Inferno Bomb landing, that is when the 130 CS advantage comes into play. At the moment now, it's less so.
It does mean teleport's not available. So YoungBuck down in that bottom wave at the moment has to join the fight if they were to go on the Baron, which is why you see him motoring right now, because they don't have the vision. Ace in the hole lands on Unlimited, doesn't get blocked off by anyone, drips him down to half hit points. Gambit are not going to start Baron off though, but they have cleared the vision and it's given Copenhagen Wolves a little pause for thought. Instead, they're pushing in towards his mid turret. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, clears the wave out, but I think they've got enough to tank it through. They will take the turret down. And that is another successful. It is actually the final outer turret that the Copenhagen Wolves can take down. Yes, that's right. 37 minutes into this game, they have just taken down the 3 outer turrets. Give them a round of applause, people. This is great stuff.
Copenhagen Wolves looked like they were going to start sieging that inner turret, decide against it. Dragon has respawned as well as the blue buff on the side of Gambit. And the Copenhagen Wolves, they're giving us a thriller. They are really taking this one to us.
Taking it to the edge, Trevor, is what they're doing. They're in the danger zone right now. Copenhagen Wolves, they're on towards the Dragon. Darien's going in. He's got his ultimate running. It's YoungBuck is going to try and focus on this time around. Amazing is also going to get drawn down. The rest of Gambit coming around towards this one. The cowTard does come back in. Wild Growth being used. Chain of Corruption lands on Eddie. Diamond's been having to take away from this one. Darien going down. He's still in the bush. Eddie gets taken down. Copenhagen Wolves pick out 2 members. Piercing Arrow does not quite land. And Gambit, they have to back away. And just like before, back and forth pendulum swing, and the Dragon continues.
Yeah, Gambit overcommit once again. They went chasing. Diamond went in solo. I actually really like the play from Amazing. He knocked every single member of Gambit away with that crescent sweep, and then a multi-man Wild Growth kept Gambit at bay. It kept them behind Amazing. What that meant is that Darien was able to get focused down by the members of Copenhagen Wolves. After they secured Dragon, they've got a 3,000 gold lead, and why would they siege the inner turret? Why? Instead, play this one safe and back away.
I mean, there's times where you should hit the turret, and there's times where you just gotta back away, man. And, well, the Copenhagen Wolves, they are the kings of playing it safe. It is only a tiny advantage. Let's not be too harsh on them. It's a 3,000 gold differential. Amazing goes and continues his farm in the jungle.
Everyone continues their farm in the everywhere.
It's great.
At this point in the game, 40 minutes in, we've got all outer towers down. We've had about 1 million dragons and about 3 fights. And every time, one team or the other has somewhat overcommitted. I still think Gambit are not running at full optimization. Diamond is looking for a kill. Grand Skyfall is up. They may want to jump on cowTard, but Amazing is nearby, so this could go pear-shaped. I think that was a smart call. There wasn't enough vision, there wasn't enough information for Gambit to make that play.
Oh, but now they're thinking about it. Here comes the Grand Skyfall. They're going on towards him. cowTard's the focus target. You can see the stealth coming in there. He's caught out 4 members in there. We do see Amazing coming in. His ultimate's available. The death sentence does not land. cowTard, though, the gigantic Wild Growth and shield is enough to sustain him long enough. The Diamond gets in. He gets out. The bombs continue to rain through. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb. Finally gets a kill for Gambit. Meanwhile, though, we did see Darien go down, and while they completely catch one man out of position, it takes them so long to kill him.
That was such a cheeky play. cowTard gets away from everything, sneaks himself back in there to get the kill on Darien, and because of the vision of when he came back into the team fight, that very farmed Alex Sitch just blew him up with the Mega Inferno bomb. That was a play that we talked about. When Gambit have the tools, they've got the Grand Skyfall, they've got the champions that can jump in there and assassinate you. But because they hesitated, because they didn't pull the trigger 5 or 10 seconds earlier, all of the Copenhagen Wolves were able to respond, and that turned out to be a very big fight. Also keep in mind, YoungBuck did teleport, so Gambit have at least pulled that split push threat away, and they've somewhat forced YoungBuck to stick with his teammates. So again, we're going to see this delayed laning phase. I think Copenhagen Wolves will stick together as a group, wait until teleport is available, and once again, go for aggressive plays. The fact that Locket was used just to block Ace and the whole damage tells you there was no intention of fighting on the side of the Copenhagen Wolves yet.
Well, no surprises there, is that they are going to get themselves vision control around the Baron area. Genja continuing that farm, chasing actually of Forgiven, who is ahead still, again, yet to die in this best of 3 so far. The immortal Unforgiven. We'll see how it works out for him. Darien down this bottom lane. His Grand Skyfall will be available shortly. We will see, though, with that ward, with that vision actually around the red buff area, it is enough for Gambit to try and push on towards that bottom lane. Copenhagen Wolves, though, trying to invade, being forced, trying pressured on towards them, but they can't catch anyone out. Darien, though, free farm continuing. He is going to get caught out by cowTard.
Truthfully, neither team knows how to push against their opponents. You can't get to 41 minutes in the game when you've got teams that have got very good wave play.
Got the 3 outer turrets, man. That's what they've got.
They're not risky. Both teams are playing so incredibly safe. Copenhagen Wolves and Gambit are playing to not lose. They are not playing to win.
I know what it is. It's an endurance test. That's what they're doing. They're testing our limits to see how far we can go in this and really keeping the crowd entertained as they do it as well. It's an endurance test for everyone involved. But let's be serious. Gambit are in danger of going out of this game. They are 4,000 gold behind, and they've not looked good in the last team fights.
They haven't. Gambit have overcommitted both times in the Dragon Pit. In 2 minutes, we should hopefully see another sniff of action as both teams have only fought around that Dragon. And the story of the game really has been Gambit starting the fights, but then being unable to complete them in a sufficient manner. Copenhagen Wolves have had all the tools to deal with it. The wild growth from Lulu has been fantastic. The knockbacks from Amazing have worked out. And on the topic of Amazing, he's got 100, not 100, he has 32 stacks on that Feral Flare. So it's dealing 196 bonus damage, and it's restoring 42 health per hit, which is incredible sustain, especially when he goes for these objectives. Maybe he'll decide to touch Baron at some point, and with a little bit of help, they can two-man Baron.
Well, I mean, with the Ranian's Omen, the Sunfire Cape as well, he has a lot of armor up against this fairly armor-heavy damage. Well, we're seeing with the Copenhagen Wolves. They're rotating around. Dragon's up in 50 seconds. Could be the next focus target. Seems to be.
It will be a fight.
It will be the fight, and I wonder whether it's the fight we all hope and wish it will be. YoungBuck gets spotted out by the ward. Darien just going to step away from that one. He knows the Baron's up shortly. He's going to stick around. But Genja is going to the top lane. If he shows himself up there, they're going to just turn and take full advantage of this bottom half of the jungle against Gambit.
So another time we see Gambit going to be arriving late to the Dragon fight. And all of a sudden,
holy
Wolves,
cow,
they got bored.
The Copenhagen Wolves are going to tank out a turret, ladies and gentlemen. The first inner turret goes down. And that was a very quick tower. Maybe the Copenhagen Wolves have realized they could have done this a long time ago. But Gambit, they're reacting. They're going for the Baron.
I think they're going to get it. There's no global presence. There is a teleport here from YoungBuck. It's going to be too late. So Copenhagen Wolves sneak a tower. This gives Baron buff to Gambit, a team who was behind in gold. Now they're basically ahead thanks to the stats that it gives you. And I would say that's evened out the game. The little semblance of control that the Copenhagen Wolves had has now been rewritten. And Dragon is still up, so we could still be in for that fight.
They're still going to go in towards it, but they're up against a Baron team, and the Copenhagen Wolves do not fancy that opportunity. Instead, Gambit going to push through. They know the Copenhagen Wolves have to rotate through this small passage, which is why they put the mines down there with the minions in. Gambit are going to push in towards that tower. They are not fearful of taking a tower down. but they're fearful of tanking it seems, because they're gonna back away.
Gotta play it safe. You can't run the risk. You know what? So for Gambit, they've been jumped on. They've been controlled in their last fights. So if they stick around in that siege situation, you've seen the wave play. You've seen how efficiently Forgiven and cowTard just deal with those minions. So because there's no minions there, in order for Gambit to go for the tower, they have to face tank it, and they're not powerful enough to do that. Gambit also do not want a tower dive. So Dragons are now evened up at 3-3. It's the first Dragon that we've seen that hasn't had a fight. Copenhagen Wolves are going to stall until Baron's out, because they don't want to fight a team with Baron. And we'll have to see if Copenhagen Wolves or Gambit decide to sneak another tower.
They don't want to fight a team, not a team with Baron. They just don't want to fight a team. They just don't want to fight. They just don't want to fight. Genja, he's got the red buff. Woo! He's going to be making use of that, I can tell you. Right now, we'll see where he goes with it. Alexic, he's glistening. He's got all the buffs of the world being picked on towards him, all those potions. He's fully built, fully stacked, with 553 CS. You'd think that they'd make use of those bouncing bombs and start throwing them in the direction of the Copenhagen Wolves.
775 ability power on Alexic right now. 598. Oh, they've caught Diamond.
Binding, but it's still not enough as the Lantern gets thrown down, and Diamond will be safe for now.
So, Gambit are at least somewhat grouping towards a turret. They're not brave enough to go straight down a lane because we've seen the strength of a Copenhagen Wolves engage and a team fight. So in order for Gambit to make this one work, they are looking for some poke from Ziggs, possibly an ace in the hole, and then kha'Zix to assassinate. I think that's the theory. If they can get Diamond to jump in from the sideline, pull the focus of Copenhagen Wolves and buy the rest of the team time to deal damage, that could be the way they get in. But look at Forgiven, he just decimates those minions.
Well, we're waiting to see whether Alexic can land one of those bouncing bombs. Currently, he is 0 for 7. Hashtag believe Alexic bouncing bomb. 2014 spring split. At the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, and Gambit disengage.
So are we going to make this a thing? Are you actually going to count the bouncing bombs? Or
It went for 0 for 9 there.
Okay, so just as an aside, for the astute viewers at home.
I'm sure somebody else counted it, I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah. There's so much wave play. There's honestly, a team has to make a mistake, and even when they do make a minor positional, you can't even call it an error. That was just Unlimited walking up to put a ward down, and he ate one bouncing bomb. Diamond finally coming in from the sideline, but Genja's not with him.
Well, nor is YoungBuck, that's the thing. They may well try and commit, but again, without your AD carry, well, surprise, surprise, Genja's not there. This is not something unusual we haven't seen throughout the season. It means you can't push, and so sure as damn it, that Baron buff's going to wear out. Grand Skyfall, bottom lane, YoungBuck's going to get caught out, the Hydra doing the damage, but it's just not enough. YoungBuck steps away from that one. Now we're going to see Eddie coming in, throws out the Lantern. Has he got the death sentence? Forces the flash from YoungBuck. They disengage. Mid lane, YoungBuck, amazing going in. All that damage on towards Genja. Bouncing bombs coming through from Alexic. Does throw out the rubber ducky, but with the black shield on amazing, it does nothing.
Absolutely nothing. They get away. So flash blown from YoungBuck, at the very least, a grand Skyfall attempt amounted to a grand amount of nothing, I'm afraid. But the one thing that you do have to take solace in or keep considering is, if Gambit lose this game, they're in the summer promotion tournament. I mean, this is weighing on their minds. It's weighing on their every move. This is the most passive Gambit I have ever seen, ever. In all my years of watching Gambit, when they were Moscow 5, when they're Gambit, I've never seen them play this safe and this unaggressive. Is that a word? I don't know. That's you can help me with that one.
Well, it's normally you give Gambit a finger, they take your arm, they take your body, but Copenhagen Wolves have been offering up limbs, and Gambit are just passing them back. They just don't want them. They're not interested right now. This is a problem. Confidence, I feel, is a serious factor for Gambit. Copenhagen Wolves are doing what they always do. They are playing passive. We knew this coming into this game. We knew this is how they're going to play. It's how they grind out the results. And generally, the top teams, the higher seeds, know how to deal with this. They can play around it. They can work the positional advantage. That's what Gambit are going to try and do. Diamond's going aggressive. He's into 4 members. Mega Inferno bomb comes in. It lands. Forgiven takes a big punch of damage there. Now Unlimited's going to get focused on. Have they got the damage? Ace in the hole comes through, gets blocked out by Amazing. Amazing turns this one back around. YoungBuck's teleporting in behind right now. Gambit are trying to get lulled into a false sense. He's going to be running into 5 members though. Look at the burst damage he's got, but he's just going to get dropped down where he stands. Guardian Angel going to respawn respawn. Mega Inferno Bomb is already used. Dark Binding lands. Finally, a kill comes in, but it is for Gambit. cowTard tries to run away from this one, but no advantage gained for Gambit. They got a kill, they got a teleport, they got a Guardian Angels down, and they back away.
Both team threw every single thing they had and the kitchen sink at that team fight, and it was a mistake from YoungBuck that resulted in the kill. I like the fact that Kha'Zix finally decided to flank. It is something that we talked about, something that we've seen. I like the fact that Gambit tried to make a play. We haven't seen them play the map at all. We haven't seen them play the Grand Skyfall positions at all. And finally they engage. Unfortunately, it was far from being convincing, and all of those shields from Lulu, from Morgana, from the Wild Growth just allowed Copenhagen Wolves to get out alive. Only losing YoungBuck thanks to coming in from behind, and again, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Gambit are one step closer to evening up the kill score.
And one step closer to the edge. And I'm about to
break.
20 seconds until the Baron is going to respawn, ladies and gentlemen. That's the focus of these teams. That is where they're going to go. YoungBuck will be back available. He's going to have to run with those home guard boots, though, because this is going to get started off, I feel, by Gambit very quickly the moment it spawns.
Yeah, but Copenhagen Wolves, I think, are close enough. In that previous fight, the Chain of Corruption from Forgiven on Varus hit all 5 members of Gambit. It was a very important note. So Baron is going low.
That's going quick.
That's going to be gone by the time the Wolves get in there. We'll see if Amazing can steal it.
Amazing looking to try and dive in. Gambit peel out. So they don't fancy this one at all, it seems.
Nope, they do not. So peel away. Didn't want to get jumped on. Again, the strength of the confined spaces. Wild Growth plus Chain of Corruption means Gambit would have been locked in place, and Gambit need mobility. Gambit need to kite and peel. They need Pantheon and Kha'Zix to be in the faces of Copenhagen Wolves. And if they get locked down by that CC, obviously the comp's not going to work. Now Amazing wants to fight. YoungBuck's on a trap.
YoungBuck's caught out. You can see Diamond off at the side there, and Copenhagen Wolves are moving in towards this one. Forgiven. He's pretty low on mana, actually. Would be a focused target. Amazing, though, is so tanky. With the shield that comes out from cowTard, he's got effectively 5,000 hit points in there. And then again, you've got the support of Unlimited jumping on towards Diamond. Amazing, trying to tank out, trying to take in all the damage. Nobody really wanted to start this fight. Dark Binding on Alex 6. That's going to get pounced on. Zoni's hourglass comes out. Chain of Corruption whiffs out there. Edward managing to get away from it. The hook comes out. The Mega Inferno Bomb lands on no one. Both teams disengage again. The
trigger fingers are so tense right now that the moment that Hourglass went down, Chain of Corruption didn't land. Alexic gets away with his life. I like the fact Copenhagen Wolves attempted that. They were trying to force something. They've got so much mobility and speed with that Lulu on their side. They tried to jump in. Unfortunately, Gambit were able to peel away. Now, the Copenhagen Wolves blew a fair few ultimates. There's no Wild Growth, there's no Crescent Sweep, there's no Chain of Corruption. And remember, Alexic has got very good poke. We'll see who comes out ahead in yet another Baron attempt.
The Baron down to half health. There's the mines being thrown out. Bouncing bombs again. Amazing jump straight into the team. He's taken down so quick, though. It's going to be Genja that does the damage. Eddie is taken out of this one. The stun comes out, but look at it, it's a double kill for Genja. Unlimited gets pounced on. Diamond gets himself a kill in towards it. It's a triple kill. He's going to go towards it. Forgiven goes down. It's a quadra. Can they get the Penta on YoungBuck? One more shot. It's a pentakill for Genja. And would you believe Gambit Gaming finally go aggressive. They take victory. And the Copenhagen Wolves could be, I say this hesitantly, could be taken to game 3. 54 minutes in.
There is so much damage on Gambit's side and a minion wave. They can finish this game right now at the end of a 53-minute slugfest. A poor decision from Amazing results in them losing the game. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a decider.
Wow. It was a long way coming, a long time coming. 54 minutes. We go to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. Both of these teams, I would hesitate to say fighting tooth and nail to stay in the LCS. The Summer LCS, that's where it counts. That's the trip to the World Championships. If you can top the league in there, get through the playoffs. Nobody wants to be in that promotion series. Cloud9 and Clips are in there. Ninjas in Pajamas in there. And Denial are in there. Both 3 very good teams. It's a hard choice for whoever's in that choice. Of course, it would be the first pick, which of these